Hello, I want to talk to you about ethanol fuels tonight. Several years ago, I had bought a boat, and I wasn't very familiar with the operation of it, and didn't do a lot of reading. Now, I had it for a few months, and I needed some gas. Well, I pulled up to the first available gas pump, started pumping gas into the boat. Well, I didn't notice the E10 label that was on the gas pump, and wouldn't have known what it meant had I had seen it. Took my boat home, cleaned it up, parked it in the garage, let it sit there for a few weeks. I didn't have time to take it out. Well, my next trip to the lake was about 3 weeks later. And my boat started, ran good for a few minutes, and I assumed it was nothing at all when it started to sputter, and it missed a few times. But I just kept pushing the throttle to keep the boat going, and didn't notice that it was starting to give me some problems. Well, I gave it all the throttle I could to keep it running. Well, that was probably my biggest mistake. The motor clanked loudly and then stopped, and I had to be towed back to the boat ramp. The motor had blown itself apart internally. Ethanol fuel had destroyed the internal parts of the motor and caused it to detonate a cylinder. Detonation occurs when a blocked fuel jet suddenly unclogs, placing a large amount of fuel in the cylinder. Imagine this is your cylinder and your gas flow. And, as it pounds like this, well, if a large amount of gas goes in there and over-detonates, it rams it back real hard, and it usually breaks the pinion gear. The resulting explosion or detonation actually caused, the piston to split. Now, this is why I'm taking this opportunity to persuade you to avoid ethanol blend fuels in your marine engine. According to Boat US, calls from irate boaters started to arrive shortly after the national launch of the E10 ethanol blend fuels in 2003. Now, the boat owners were reporting massive engine failures, then they didn't know why. The insurance division of Boat US was receiving an overwhelming number of engine failure claims and had to react quickly to find out what the cause was. Well, it was quickly discovered that the ethanol in the fuel was acting as a solvent and was attacking the rubber and fiberglass parts of the boat. The gas tank, the fuel delivery systems like the hoses and that type of thing were being affected. And it would get onto the surface and it would coat, it would sort of slough off, and it would form a sludge. The U.S. and another reason we need to watch it is the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is proposing an increase in the percentage of ethanol gasoline from 10% up to 15%. Now, an increase of the percentage of ethanol blended gasoline could prove to be even more damaging than the E10 when you go up 5% more. That extra 5% has been tested in some of the U.S. markets already, and it has had devastating results to the marine engines that it was introduced into. Massive failures, same, cylinder detonation, that type of stuff. Boat owners can avoid, on average, about $3,000 in marine engine repair costs by simply avoiding ethanol blend fuels. The use of pure gasoline is widely accepted as the only fuel that should be used in a marine engine. Pure gas is available at many gas stations and actually costs the same as ethanol blend fuels. Pure gas has higher octane ratings and will actually increase gas mileage in marine engines. Now, what happens? It's a higher octane, which means it's got more oomph and more go per gallon than the ethanol blends. Now, we can visualize the benefits of avoiding ethanol blend fuels by addressing some of the misconceptions about using ethanol blend fuels in marine engines. Now, some of you believe, I'm sure, that you can use fuel stabilizers and it won't hurt your boat. Now, this is a misconception, and it is really wrong. Ethanol fuels act as a solvent, and they will deteriorate rubber, they will deteriorate fiberglass, and they will actually dissolve into the gas. And as it atomizes in your engine, when the fuel ignites, that's left behind. Ethanol blend fuels attract moisture, and we all know boats operate in a marine water type setting. And so the availability of water is there in vapor and in actual pure water. And most of your boat engines are cooled by water, so you always have that influx of water coming in. And the ethanol will actually attract it. Now, I'm sure that some of you believe that only a small amount of ethanol fuel if it's bought, you'll use it up quickly enough that it won't cause a problem. That's another misconception. Ethanol immediately starts attracting moisture. The minute you put it in, the alcohol in it will attract moisture. A boat operates in a water-filled environment, like we discussed a minute ago, so it's very easy to absorb gas into the tank. Now, when this water settles to the bottom of the fuel tank, and the fuel is gone, it accumulates down there, and all the sludge and stuff that was dissolved by the solvent is left to contaminate future gas purchases. So it's just a vicious cycle. It's over and over and over again as the water and the dissolved material builds up in the bottom of the tank. Now, I'm sure that some of you think it's difficult to find stations that sell pure gas. And it's not. Just about every town in America has at least one station that will still sell pure gas. There is a website called puregas.org that has a listing of all the stations in the United States that offer the pure gas. And this is ethanol-free gas. It's pure gas, has no additives to it. Now, most cities have several pure gas stations. Some have, maybe one, and then your little small towns might not have any, but neighboring cities do. Now, look for sign that indicates ethanol-free gas is sold here. Now, that's very important. If you see the E10 or E15 stickers, don't use it. It is not what you want. Now, I urge each of you to avoid using ethanol blend fuels in your marine engines. You can save yourself $3,000, $3,500, which is how much my engine cost to rebuild. I had to replace 4 pistons and a lot of engine machine work. And those innocent sounding sputters and misses are just an omen of things to come if you use ethanol blend fuels. Please avoid using ethanol blend fuels in your marine engine. Now, I guess you're asking yourself, well, why do I need to? If you want to save your engine and you want to be able to get on the lake and not worry about your engine exploding like mine did, don't use it. And thank you for bearing with me on this, and I hope you all learned something about ethanol blend fuels. Thank you.